Hi friends, once again welcome back to my channel. We have already discussed infections, types of infections, the sources of infections. Now we are going to discuss the different modes of infection. The different modes are listed below. They are contact, inhalation, ingestion, inoculation, insects and congenital mode. First we can see contact. Infection, it is mainly acquired through contact. The contact may be direct or indirect contact. Sexually transmitted diseases, they spread by direct contact. For example, AIDS, syphilis, hepatitis, etc. are transmitted by direct contact. Diseases transmitted through direct contact are also known as contagious diseases. Second mode of transmission in contact is indirect contact. This may be through some agents. That is, it may be mainly through the agency of fomites. Fomites are inanimate objects, that is non-living substances, such as clothing, pencils, handkerchiefs, and toys shared among children can cause or can act as a source of infection. So, the fomites contaminated by a pathogen, it can act as a vehicle so that it can transmit a pathogen from one person to another very easily. These pencils shared by school children can act as a fomite in transmission of diphtheria. The next one is inhalation. Respiratory infections such as influenza, tuberculosis, etc. are transmitted mainly by inhalation of a pathogen. Such microorganisms, they are shed to the environment or the atmosphere by patients. That is, while coughing, sneezing and speaking, they are shedding a large amount of microorganism to the atmosphere. Large droplets of these secretions, they fall on the ground, dry and remain viable and can act as source of infection. Similarly, small droplets having a diameter of 0.1 millimeter, they evaporate easily to form minute particles or droplet nuclei. These droplet nuclei, they are having a size of 1 to 10 micrometers only. That is, they are having a very minute size. These droplet nuclei, but they remain suspended in the air for a long period of time and can act as source of infection, resulting in various respiratory tract infections. Third mode of transmission is ingestion. Ingestion, it is mainly causing intestinal infections. That is, intestinal infections are generally acquired through or by ingestion of pathogen contaminated food and water. It may be waterborne, foodborne, maybe handborne, and fingerborne transmission can also occur. Waterborne means cholera. Cholera is a waterborne disease. That is, by consuming contaminated water we will acquire cholera, hepatitis A, etc. By consuming food, that is contaminated food, we can get food poisoning. For example, staphylococcal food poisoning. And we can also get the disease through contaminated hands. That is, it can cause dysentery. Dysentery is an example for hand-borne disease. Similarly, finger-borne transmission occurs mainly in children. It is mainly through mouth, nose and eyes. Next is inoculation. Here the pathogens are inoculated directly into the tissues of the host. For example, tetanus spores. These are implanted into deep wounds. The tetanus spores are implanted into deep wounds and can cause infection. Similarly, rabies virus. Rabies virus is inoculated subcutaneously by a dog bite. So, this rabies virus, it is inoculated into the subcutaneous tissues directly. Similarly, arboviruses, these are injected by insect vectors. These are all examples of inoculation mode. Then, infection by inoculation is also an iatrogenic infection when unsterile syringes and surgical equipments are employed. That is, use of unsterile syringes and surgical equipments can also cause infection by inoculation. That is iatrogenic infection. For example, hepatitis B and HIV, it may be transmitted through transfusion of infected blood or by use of contaminated needles and syringes. This use of contaminated needles and syringes, it is occurring mainly among drug addicts. That is, they will be sharing the needles and syringes. So, such type of transmission, it is mainly seen in drug addicts. Next is insects. Insects can act as mechanical or biological vectors in the transmission of disease. We have already discussed it in the previous lectures. One example is housefly is a mechanical vector of dysentery bacilli. Then Anopheles mosquito is a biological vector of malaria. Next is congenital. Some pathogens, they can cross human placental barrier and infect the fetus in the uterus of the mother. This is vertical transmission. Even though the placenta, it is acting as a protective barrier, there are some pathogens which are capable of crossing this human placental barrier, so that they can infect the fetus in the uterus of the mother, and this is known as vertical transmission. This can lead to serious conditions such as abortions, miscarriage or stillbirth. Live infants born may exhibit some manifestations of a disease. For example, intrauterine infection in the first trimester of pregnancy, for example, rubella infection in the first trimester of pregnancy, it can interfere the organogenesis. That is organ formation in the fetus, it will be affected and resulting in congenital malformations. That is the baby born, it will be having some defect. That is malformations can be seen in their organs. This is known as teratogenic infection. Next is iatrogenic and laboratory infections. Infections may be sometimes transmitted during injections. That is, while giving injections, sometimes these infections may be transmitted. Lumbar puncture and catheterization, that is, various hospital procedures, if the conditions are not aseptic, it can cause infections. That is, we have to maintain the aseptic condition or sterile conditions while doing injections, lumbar puncture, catheterization, etc. Modern treatment methods like dialysis, blood transfusion, transplantation surgery, these all have increased the chance of these iatrogenic infections. Similarly, laboratory personnel handling these infectious materials, they are also at a great risk of infection, so they have to take special care to prevent the infection. That's all about the modes of transmission of infection. Hope you understand the session. Thank you. Have a nice day.